Hello, I'm Elizabeth.
Hello, I am Maya. Welcome to our March edition of Landon TV.
Did you know that March is National Celery Month and that Kalamazoo, Michigan is a celery city?
I wanted to tell a celery joke but found no good ones. On to Women's History Month. The celebration evolved in the late 20th century from a Women's History Week in California in the late 1970s to a week-long national celebration in 1981 to finally earning national recognition in its month-long capacity in 1987. And Gerda Lerner is the founder of Women's History Month.
Speaking of women's history, did you know that Clara Barton founded the American Red Cross? We are also celebrating Red Cross Month by interviewing one of the local Red Cross members. Her name is Jane Blotcher.
Hello, Landon Middle School. I'm Adela.
And I'm Peggy. And today we are here with Miss Blocker.
March is Red Cross Month, so we're here with Miss Blocker to ask her a few questions about what Red Cross is.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here. I'm Jane Blocker. I am the Executive Director for the Greater Kansas Area Chapter of the American Red Cross based here in Topeka.
Why don't we get started with our first question? Our first question is, what does the Red Cross do?
The mission of the American Red Cross is to alleviate human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of volunteers and the generosity of donors.
And can you tell us how you started at Red Cross?
I started at the American Red Cross 23 years ago. My husband and I moved here from Colorado, and honestly, I was looking for a job, and a friend of mine that was on the board of directors of the American Red Cross said, I believe they have an opening for an executive director. You would be a great fit for them because of your background, so we'll set up an interview for you. I went for the interview and I was hired.
What is your favorite part of working for the Red Cross?
My favorite part is seeing the lives that our organization saves every day. Our primary services are blood collections. We collect almost half of the nation's blood supply. So we save many, many lives, hospital patients' lives, through the transfusion of blood. We respond to disasters, big and small, help people recover from those. We serve members of the armed forces and their families, and we train CPR classes, first aid classes, lifeguarding, water safety instructing. So we teach people how to be safe in the water so that they don't drown. We teach people how to respond in an emergency if somebody's having a cardiac event and they become unconscious. Then if we have people that are nearby that have been trained in CPR, they can save their lives. So we're all about saving lives.
And what has been your most memorable experience while working at Red Cross?
Well, there have been many over the years. The biggest disaster that I responded to was an apartment fire that happened in 2005 in Lawrence. It happened in the middle of the night, and it was a very large building, about 100 different apartments in it, that burned to the ground. And 3 people died, unfortunately, in that fire. But all the rest of the people survived, even though they lost everything they owned. During those first few days following that event, we provided shelter for them, all sorts of health services and counseling services and spiritual services and financial assistance, helping them get back on their feet and on the road to recovery. And at the end of the day, everybody had found a new place to live, so nobody was left homeless. So despite the 3 individuals that did pass away, we were able to make sure that everybody else was safe and that they had a place to stay.
And our final question is, what would you say to someone who wants to start volunteering at the Red Cross?
Volunteering is a great way to give back to your community. The volunteers that we have say they get much more out of the experience than what they give. It feels really good when you're doing something to help somebody else. whether it's helping somebody who's had a fire at their house and they've lost everything, and you give them financial support so that they can go out and buy new clothing and toiletries and food and emergency supplies. It feels really good when you put that debit card in their hand and they have hope. Before the volunteers arrived, they probably didn't have any hope at all and were feeling very, very bad about all the losses that they just incurred. So volunteers, when they help those disaster clients, whether it's a fire, a flood, a tornado, whatever it is, when they are on the scene helping those individuals and families that have been impacted and they've lost their home and everything they own, it feels really good knowing that you played a part in helping them recover and get back to normal.
Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thanks for inviting me.
A per numeral lunar eclipse will also occur on March 24th.
Olivia, our history man, trademarked, will tell the history of St. Patrick's Day.
Hello, I'm Olivia, and I'm here to teach you about the history of St. Patrick's Day. On March 17th, we celebrate St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick was kidnapped at the age of 16 from Britain and taken to Ireland as a slave. Luckily, he escaped, but later returned to convert the Irish to Christianity. By the time he died on March 17th, 461, he had established monasteries, churches, and schools. In his honor, Ireland started celebrating St. Patrick's Day. Soon it spread to the United States and then became the popular holiday known today. Sadly, no leprechauns. But why do we wear green? Green is worn because of the shamrock's popularity in Ireland's lush landscape.
Track, boys tennis, and girls soccer will start this month, and we look forward to a successful season. Speaking about March Madness, we wanted to give you some background information. The first men's tournament of what eventually became known as March Madness was held in 1939. Have you ever wondered if there has been a perfect match for March Madness bracket? No one has ever gotten a perfect proven bracket in the history of the NCAA tournament. What college team has won the most March Madness tournaments? The team with the most winnings is UCLA Bruins. They have 11 championships.
Have you noticed a change in your sleep schedule? Daylight savings occurs on the second Sunday of March, which this year is March 10th. Daylight savings moves the clock backwards 1 hour in the fall and moves the clock forward in the spring. Many countries do this, including America. The reason for daylight savings is to save energy. This has resulted in the clocks being moved to save candlelight and give more time in the afternoon to do stuff.
Here are some of our staff and students' ideal spring break vacation.
My ideal place to go for spring break would be to visit my grandparents out in Wichita.
I would go to Russia.
I would go to St. Augustine, Florida. If I could go anywhere for spring break, I'd go to Paris.
Florida.
If I could go anywhere during spring break, I would go to New Zealand.
For spring break this year, I'm going to have a new granddaughter, so I hope to get to spend a lot of time with her.
All right, so if I could go anywhere from spring break, I'd actually like to go to the hospital waiting room for my daughter to have her baby so that I could officially be a grandfather. So it wouldn't be leaving Topeka, but it would be going up there to greet my grandson.
If I could go anywhere for spring break, I would probably go back to Sitka, Alaska.
Lancers, thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.